Did you know an estimated 500,000 pets are affected by house fires every year? Though many think of their pets as family, they're often left out of emergency planning.
Yeah, it is so true. Today is National Pet Fire Safety Day, and Lieutenant Dennis Maldonado of the Community Volunteer Fire Department is here to help owners be better prepared for a disaster. Welcome, Lieutenant. It's great to see you. And what Lauren just said is pretty staggering, that about 500,000 pets here in America, this is according to the American Kennel Club, they're affected by house fires every single year. And when it comes to family planning, a lot of parents talk to their kids about getting out safely, and we don't think of our pets. So where do we start?
Right. I mean, so I don't have the exact statistics for our area, but an alarming amount of house fires and incidents that we make do involve pets, whether it be dogs or cats or otherwise. And so, you know, although it's very important to protect your own safety and your kids and everything, but, you know, pets are just as important. You know, many people, myself including, treat pets as an extension, as a part of the family. So having a plan to be able to get the pets out in case of a fire is just as important.
Mm-hmm.
Today is National Pet Fire Safety Day, and this is an interesting fact. Nearly 1,000 house fires are started by your pets each year. You don't think about that, but a dog knocks over a candle or a cat doing the same thing. How can you be more prepared for things like that?
Yeah, so there's plenty of examples of, you know, dogs are curious, right? Dogs and cats and everything, they're curious, and, you know, they want to see what's going on. They see food on a kitchen stove and they want to climb up and get that food. So, you know, just the basic things of extinguish any candles or open flames around pets. Pets are curious and they're going to be attracted to those things, especially if you're home alone. But you know, in the kitchen, try to secure or remove any knobs on the stove. A dog may want to try to climb onto the stove to get to some food, and they can inadvertently turn on those knobs and start gas or you know, maybe catch anything that's on the stove on fire. You know, on that note is try not to leave anything on the stove when you're away from home. You know, if that stove does turn on, whatever's on that stove could catch fire because it's just heating up and heating up. So try to leave that kind of clean and nothing on there. And ensure anything that has heating elements or electronics, they stay unplugged, turned off, and out of the way from any pets being able to mess with them. And likewise, discourage pets from messing with electronics or any loose wires. You know, you got lamps and Christmas trees and stuff that would have loose wires all over the place. Try to discourage pets from wanting to chew on those and play with those. And lastly, I would say, you know, just the normal, you know, test and maintain your smoke detectors and other fire alarms in your house, and test them monthly. Change the batteries every time you change the clocks, and if possible, use a monitored service so that when you're not at home, in the case of smoke alarm activation, you know, you can get an alert on your on the text, or it can call the fire department automatically.
Wow, it's the stove thing you just mentioned, Lieutenant. I mean, I think a lot of pet owners wouldn't even consider that their dog could potentially turn on the stove. Right. Let's say in the event of a fire, being prepared with what to do in case of a fire, you have some very common sense steps we can all take, starting with putting a sign in our front door or window indicating how many pets are in that home.
Yeah, I mean, there's no standard for it, but putting a sign, you know, near a front door, near a front window where firefighters and first responders are going to be able to see those signs would be very helpful for us. I know, you know, if I see a sign to say, hey, there are 2 dogs in the home, and where those dogs may be, I'm going to put some effort into trying to find those pets. You know, other things you can do to kind of prepare for a fire involving pets is avoid locking the pets in a room. Some people like to lock pets maybe in a closet or something when they're when they're away from home, because maybe they're not well trained enough to be let loose in the house. But that could mean, you know, if there's an emergency like a fire or smoke or gas or something, the pets have no way to escape. So if possible, try to keep any pets or kennels near the entrances of homes where first responders can easily find them. Additionally, you know, pets like to hide when they're scared, and, you know, when there's a loud smoke alarms or, you know, there's fire or anything, pets typically do sense that something is going wrong, and they'll hide. They'll go to a hiding spot that they're comfortable in. So try to find out where that hiding spot is, and once you find that out, you'll be able to know where to find those pets or where to tell the first responders to find those pets in an event of emergency. And then, what you should do is make your pets part of your emergency escape plan. You should have an emergency plan. You should practice that with your family, but have your pets be a part of that plan. So encourage pets to find you in an event of an alarm or something. Assign roles to family members. One family member can find the pets, another family member can get the supplies like the pet food, the leashes, the collars, the medications, and then practice that plan with your family and your pets. And then lastly, I'd like to say is keep contact information up to date with the collars, chip implants, and even contact information with your vets. We had many times where homeowners would tell us they can't find their pet in the house fire. Well, we can't locate them either. It turns out they actually ran away without us. They saved themselves, and a neighbor may have found them down the road some other time. So keep contact information current, so when pets run away, they can be located.
Well, it's certainly important to have a plan in place. Lieutenant Dennis Maldonado, thank you so much for your time today and for helping to keep our pets safe.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And to our viewers, in case you missed any of Lieutenant Maldonado's tips, do not worry. You can find that info on our website, HoustonLife.tv.